Hey, welcome back to Everyday Economics, the podcast that helps you learn about the economic world happening around you every day. I'm your host, Chris Krug, CEO of the 501c3 nonprofit, nonpartisan Franklin News Foundation. Everyday Economics is a production of America's Talking Network. You can subscribe to all of our podcasts at americastalking.com. To support Everyday Economics, you can make a tax-deductible charitable contribution by clicking the link in the show description. We're recording this episode on Friday, August 9th. Joining me, as always, my friend and colleague, Dr. Orphe Divounguy. He's a PhD economist. Dr. O, we got a busy week ahead. I made a list of all the economic data that's coming out this week, and my list isn't even complete. We have producer price index coming out. The consumer price index is coming out. We have initial jobless claims coming out. I think people are going to be interested in that, especially with what went down with the job numbers and unemployment last month. Retail sales are going to come out this week, and then builder confidence is also expected. I think that's landing on Friday. That's just my punch list. What do you got on your punch list, and what's at the top of it?
Yeah, look, business confidence, small businesses affected by higher interest rates. So I'm not seeing a big uptick in business confidence in July. But yeah, consumer price index, I think, is going to be the main event. Producer price index also. Both of those tell you a little bit about what core inflation measured by the personal consumption expenditure price index, or the Fed's preferred inflation measure, is going to look like. And ultimately, we know that consumer prices actually fell in the month of June. I don't expect them falling again in July. But we know that on a year-over-year basis, prices are going to continue easing closer and closer to the Fed's inflation target. Prices were 3% higher than a year ago in June, down from 3.3% in May. Core CPI was at 3.3% in June, slightly higher, slightly slower to come down. But look, here's what we got in core CPI that I think a lot of people had been talking about or maybe ignoring a little bit now. The fact that rent inflation has eased a ton, and rents happen to be roughly 42% of core inflation in the CPI.
Yeah,
measure.
can we, for the benefit of the people that that are maybe just aren't that deep into the weeds on this, what all is considered inside of the basket of stuff that we have to pay for? To exist. What's in the CPI basket?
Well, I don't have to. It's a long list. Food,
Right.
Food away from home. The rent. It happens to be a survey, so it's all survey.
Yeah.
But market rents, like actual market rents, new rents, tend to predict where rents are going to be in the CPI, and market rents have eased tremendously. Remember, in February of 2022, rents were increasing at an unbelievable pace. I think rents were up like 16% on a year-over-year basis.
Yeah.
Now they're down to about, I think, 2-point-something% for multifamily rents. I think 2.7, maybe 2.6. And I think 4.5 for single, 4.5, 4.7 for single family rents. So rent overall, roughly 3.5% year over year. So rents have come down, and that's going to show up in the core CPI measure of rent, and that's going to bring down core CPI. So that's a major one. So I expect core inflation to continue easing towards the Fed's 2% target. But let's be honest, it's still kind of high, right? It's easing fast now, but it's still kind of high, and that's still putting some pressure on families, on household finances.
I mean, on the street, I'm not getting any feedback that would suggest that things are getting easier for people right now.
Exactly. Remember,
I mean, fuel prices kind of dip. You referenced that you've seen your fuel prices in the Pacific Northwest go down. Ours hadn't until this week, and then all of a sudden I started to see a little bit of a downward drift.
Yes. Remember, remember, prices in a well-functioning economy, prices are expected to increase. It's just a matter of how fast they increase.
Right.
Right? We really want our wages to increase faster than our prices, or
Right.
the prices of stuff we pay for, right?
But to be clear, we're not seeing that in this moment.
Well, not overall. Actually, yes, we are now. Prices up 3% year over year is actually lower than wages up 3.6% on a
Okay.
year over year basis. So we've caught up now. The
Okay.
problem is that, wages were rising so much slower than prices for most of the pandemic, right?
Right.
And so we, even though we're now experiencing an improvement in real wages adjusted for inflation, the gap that there's a big gap that still needs to be closed, because basically in the last 4 years, incomes lagged prices so much, right? And so we're playing catch up. But anyway, more to come this week. We're going to have retail sales, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were flat last month. And the big question is the improvement in wages adjusted for inflation, the improvement in real wages, actually going to be a tailwind for consumers and get them out spending again, right? Big question. Because as of right now, I think we're probably going to see that it's just holding consumers up. And I don't think we're going to see a big resurgence in consumer spending. Why do I think that? I think that because the unemployment rate has increased.
Mm-hmm.
And what that means is the time it takes to find a job has increased. And so expected income has decreased. And so if you expect your income to be decreasing in the near future, then, or not rising all that much in the near future, then you are going to kind of pull back and save a higher share of your income. And we started to see that. And I think that's going to continue, right? As individuals realize that they can no longer just quit their jobs and find another job easier or faster.
Right. We've been talking about that. And I think that lines up with what I'm hearing on the street too. Hey, in the last minute, I mean, obviously you spend a lot of time looking at the housing market. You want to talk about builder confidence and what you expect there?
Yeah, I think that the recent kind of easing in mortgage rates that we've had, first, I think mortgage rates eased a little bit in June. They eased a little bit more in July.
Mm-hmm.
I think that bodes well for builder confidence. It actually could increase foot traffic to various sites. People that had been waiting in the wings might actually see that and say, "Oh, maybe it's my time to get in the housing market." At the same, so definitely, I think we're going to see a small improvement in builder confidence. And then on top of that, I think we're also potentially going to start seeing improvements in housing starts.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a bold call. We're probably going to have to check me on that. But the reason I say that is, look, new listings, the flow of existing homes coming on the market is easing. It tends to ease into the slow season, the fall, the summer and fall.
Right.
And so it means there's less competition for builders, essentially. At a time where mortgage rates are easing. And so you take those two things together, potentially slightly higher demand for housing, even in the slow season, and the fact that there are fewer existing homes coming on the market, and that kind of leaves the path open for builders, potentially.
Yeah. Well, we'll check back. We'll check back in with you on that. As we get a little bit deeper into the the end of the summer and then the beginning of the fall. Hey, don't forget, you can read Orphe's column every Monday, the Everyday Economics column, which looks ahead at the what's to come in the week at thecentersquare.com. That's every Monday at thecentersquare.com. We'll bring it to a close. For Orphe Divounguy, this has been Chris Krug. Subscribe to Everyday Economics and dozens of other high-quality podcasts at americastalking.com.